Welcome back, children, to the online class of biology. So, today we are going to start with the chapter 2, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So, as you know, some of the portions are removed from the syllabus, and in that, the third chapter we were supposed to do from the genetics unit, that is evolution chapter is removed completely, and from the reproduction chapter the first chapter is removed. So we have to start with what chapter 2, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Is it clear? So as you know, okay, flower is the reproductive organ of the plant, isn't it? So the major function of flower for the plants is what? To take part in reproduction, isn't it? And it was having lot of other functions, isn't it? Aesthetic, ornamental, social, religious. So to exchange the feelings of human being. Okay, we always used what? Flowers, and we are using flowers. So for the plants, their major function is what? To take part in the reproduction, okay, in the process of reproduction. Okay, and as you know, what are the parts of the flower? Do you remember? You have learned it from the lower classes, isn't it? So this is the thalamus region, isn't it? And where you can see various whorls are organized. Various whorls are organized around this cone shaped structure. That cone shaped structure is known as what? Thalamus. The stalk of the flower is known as what? Pedicel, and its tip is little bit swollen and it is forming a cone shaped structure and funnel shaped. Okay, funnel shaped structure, that part is known as the thalamus, and into which all other parts are joined. Okay, so you can see here the sepals, okay, the non attractive part of the flower. Then you can see the sepals, then you can see the stamens, okay, which form the units of what? Andrecium. And you can see the gynoecium, including what? Ovary, okay, style, and at the top what it is? Stigma. Okay, so these are the major parts of the flower, isn't it? Then, so this part, okay, of the flower which is taking part directly in reproduction is known as the essential part of the flower. So that includes what? Stamens and the carpel, isn't it? The other parts, they are not directly taking part in the process of reproduction. They just what? Help in the process of reproduction, like what? Sepals, petals, etc. Okay, so the major part, essential part that needs to be present in a plants are what? The male part, the andrecium, the female part, the gynoecium. Okay, then, so much before a flower is formed in the plant, okay, the actual decision will be taken by the plant, because see, the buds which forms can be a floral bud, or it can be a simply what? It can grow into a simple branch. So whether how a bud will get modified into a flower will be decided by the hormonal and structural changes that are initiated in the plants. Okay, so that help in the what? Development of various structures in the plants. Okay, in the flower, andrecium, that contain the wall of stamens, is the male part. So the male part of the flower is known as the andrecium, and each unit of the andrecium is known as stamens, isn't it? Stamens are the what? The units of andrecium. Understood? So you can see each andrecium is having a having many stamens, sometimes what? Few stamens. So you can see a filament, okay, you can see a long filament and the anther. Okay, so anther and filaments are the parts of what? A stamen. Okay, and you can see that each anther is bilobed. You can see two lobes here, isn't it? Two lobes, and each lobe will have four types, having four tika. Okay, that is each anther is having two lobes. Okay, two lobes. This is one lobe and this is another lobe. Okay, two lobes, and each lobe will have what? Each lobe will be having two tika. Okay, so you can see a longitudinal fissure. Okay, a line of dehiscence or longitudinal fissure that separates the two tika of each lobe. So these, there are two lobes. Each lobe will have what? Two tika, and at the corners of this tika, okay, you can see what? The microsporangia. Okay, on that, okay, is four-sided, consisting of four microsporangia. This microsporangia, where they are located? They are located in the theca. Okay, so theca are what? The parts or chambers of what? Lobes. This theca are separated by what? A line of dehiscence or longitudinal fissure is there that separates the what? The two theca. In each theca, how many? In each theca, okay, how many? Four microsporangia will be there. Okay, so this is the structure of a anther. So is it clear? That is, an angiosperm anther is having two lobes, bilobed. It is bilobed, and each lobe is having two theca. Okay, so this condition is known as dithecous. Okay, what it is called the dithecous. Okay, dithecous condition, and this dithecous condition means what? Two theca are there, okay, in each lobe, and then. So the anther is four-sided, consisting of four microsporangia located at the corners, two in each lobe. Okay, so there are four microsporangia or pollen sacs. Okay, actually the microsporangia develop into the pollen sacs later. Okay, microsporangia contain what? Young cells. They will, okay, undergo microsporogenesis and form pollen grains. So that structure in which this process is taking place is called the microsporangia. Okay, and this will develop into, as the flower become old, the what? Microsporangia develop into pollen sacs. Is it clear? So next we have to study about the structure of a microsporangium. Okay, so structure of microsporangium, when you see its transverse section, shows that, okay, it is somewhat near the circular in outline. Okay, and there are four walls. Four walls are there. Okay, they are wall layers, middle layers, okay, tapetum and sporogenous tissues. So these are the four layers which surrounds each of the microsporangia. So what I'm telling you now is about the structure of microsporangia. First, what I taught, how the microsporangia are formed, isn't it? Where it is found. And now I'm going to tell you about the structure of microsporangia. So each microsporangia will have what? Four wall layers. Okay, four wall layers. The outermost layer is known as the epidermis. Okay, then next one is endothecium, and the next one is the middle layers. Okay, and last is the tapetum. Likewise, four different layers of cells can be seen in each microsporangia. Okay, so the outer three wall layers, that is, what are they? The epidermis, okay, then what? Endothecium, and the middle layers. Okay, so their main function is to protect the Okay, its function is the protection and also help in the dehiscence process. Dehiscence means what? The process by which the seeds are dispersed, one kind of seed dispersal method. Okay, so here we are saying about the dehiscence of the anther. Means after dehiscence, what will happen? The pollen grains will be spread to the surrounding. Okay, so dehiscence. Okay, dehiscence is one of the function. Okay, and also in the protection. Okay, so the protection and also help in the dehiscence of anther to release the pollen. So these are the functions of the outer three wall layers, and the innermost layer is known as the tapetum. Okay, so tapetum will be the nourishing tissue. Okay, when the pollen grains get developed, okay, they get the nourishment from where? From the tapetal layers. Okay, and so structure of microsporangium I was saying, isn't it? So the structure of microsporangium includes what all? It includes the what? The three wall layers. What are the three wall layers? Epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, and the tapete. Okay, middle layers and the tapetum. And among this, the outer three wall layers, their function is protection and helping in the process of dehiscence. And the innermost layer, what is that? The tapetum. Okay, tapetum. Okay, can you see here? So this tapetum is having the what? They are helping in the nourishing process. Okay, the developing pollen grains are nourished by the tapetum. Okay, so these are the major parts of what. So when the anther is young, okay, you can see the wall layers. Okay, they protect a group of homogeneous cells called sporogenous tissue. Okay, sporogenous tissue, and the sporogenous tissue will develop into what? Pollen grains. So that process of formation of microspores or pollen grains from a pollen mother cell through meiosis is called what? Microsporogenesis. Is it clear? So microsporogenesis means what? Formation of microspore or pollen grain. So where it takes place? They are taking place inside the pollen sac, or what? The microsporangium. Okay, the microsporangium contains what? Some of the tissues known as what? The known as the sporogenous tissue. So in the sporogenous tissue, all the cells are capable of producing young ones. Is it clear? So uh, is this process of formation of microspores from pollen mother cells through meiosis is called what? Microsporogenesis. Okay, so each of the cells of sporogenous tissue is capable of what? Producing the spores, microspores. So they undergo meiosis. Why meiosis? Because pollen grain has to be converted to haploid, isn't it? So they undergo meiosis, and each microspore mother cell, okay, microspore mother cell or PMC, they are having the capacity to produce 3 4 cells as they are undergoing meiosis. Okay, then they will be arranged in a cluster of 4 cells. Okay, they are known as what? Microspore tetrads. Okay, microspore tetrads. So from each microspore mother cells, okay, a number of what? Microspores will be formed. Isn't it? Inside each microsporangium, there will be number of microspores or pollen grains.